This morning, if your mind has been heavy with worry and your heart restless with unanswered questions, this prayer is for you. God has not called you to live trapped in fear, but to walk in peace, trust, and confidence in His promises. Stay with me through this prayer, because what we are about to declare may break the hold of overthinking and shift the atmosphere of your entire day. There is a silent battle many people fight before the sun even rises. It is not a battle with people. It is not a battle with circumstances. It is the battle of the mind. Overthinking, worry, fear of what may happen, stress over what has not even arrived. And hear me carefully, worry is not preparation. Worry is misplaced faith. Worry is believing in the possibility of failure more than the promise of God. This morning, I came to remind you of a truth that can change your life. When you trust God, you remove the burden of control from your shoulders. The reason many people are exhausted is not because life is heavy, but because they are carrying things they were never designed to carry. You were not created to carry tomorrow. You were not created to carry the opinions of people. You were not created to carry outcomes only God can control. You were designed to trust. The scripture says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding." Did you hear that? Do not lean on your understanding, because understanding without revelation produces anxiety, but trust produces peace. Many people think peace comes when problems disappear. No, peace comes when your confidence in God becomes greater than your awareness of problems. And some of you listening have been trapped in mental loops. What if it goes wrong? What if I fail? What if they leave? What if nothing changes? But let me ask you another question. What if God is already working behind what you cannot see? Before we go deeper, stay with me, because in a moment we are going to expose the hidden root of worry, and what you hear next may change how you fight anxiety forever. You must understand something powerful. Worry is often an attempt to control the future, but control belongs to God. Faith says, "Lord, I release what I cannot manage." And release is where freedom begins. Some of you have mistaken overthinking for wisdom. Thinking deeply is not the same as living in torment. Wisdom seeks God. Worry circles problems. Wisdom receives direction. Worry drains strength. And every moment spent feeding fear is a moment stolen from faith. I need you to stay with me, because we are about to uncover why many believers pray but still live burdened. And this next truth can set your mind free. I challenge you, stop rehearsing disasters that have never happened. Stop giving imagination to defeat. Stop meditating on loss. Meditate on promise, because whatever dominates your meditation will eventually influence your expectation. And expectation shapes destiny. If you expect disaster, you will live tense. If you expect God's goodness, you will live with hope. Listen, God is not confused about your future. He is not anxious about your needs. He is not intimidated by what threatens you. He already stands in your tomorrow. That means your future is not unknown to heaven. And if heaven knows your tomorrow, why should fear govern your today? Somebody needs to hear this. You have survived things you once thought would destroy you. And the same God who brought you through then is with you now. Stay with me, because in just a moment we are going to pray a declaration over your mind. And I believe something heavy is about to lift off you. Many of us worry because we interpret delay as denial. But delay is often preparation. A seed in the ground looks buried, but it is not buried. It is planted. And some of you think your dreams are buried. No, God is developing roots before He reveals fruit. Trust Him in hidden seasons. Trust Him in unanswered moments. Trust Him when the road is unclear, because faith is not trusting when you understand everything. Faith is trusting when you do not. Now hear this spiritual principle. Whatever you surrender to God comes under His management. If you keep carrying it, you keep struggling with it. But when you place it in God's hands, heaven gets involved. Do not leave yet, because the prayer ahead is not routine prayer. It is a breaking point prayer for worry, fear, and mental exhaustion. So this morning, release your children to Him. Release your finances to Him. Release your health to Him. Release your future to Him. There is a peace available to you that is greater than explanation. The scripture calls it peace that surpasses understanding. That means it makes no natural sense. Storm outside, calm inside, pressure outside, confidence inside, questions outside, peace inside. That is what trust produces. There are burdens many people carry that God never assigned to them. You are trying to carry tomorrow while surviving today. You are trying to control outcomes, fix people, predict problems, and manage circumstances that are beyond human power. And this is where anxiety begins, when a person attempts to carry what belongs in the hands of God. Trust is not passive. Trust is spiritual alignment. It is coming into agreement that God can govern what you cannot. When you trust the Lord, you step out of the exhausting illusion of control and into the peace of divine order. The mind that must control everything will never rest, because life will always produce uncertainties. But the mind surrendered to God can have peace even in uncertainty. Some of you are carrying family burdens, financial pressure, unanswered prayers, and fears about the future. But hear this, carrying a burden does not solve a burden. It only makes the soul heavier. God never asked you to be your own provider, protector, and source. He asked you to trust Him, and trust means releasing outcomes. It means saying, Lord, I will obey you, but I leave results in your hands. That is freedom. Stay with me, because what I am about to reveal next may explain why worry has been stealing your strength and how trust can restore your peace. Every burden you refuse to surrender becomes a weight on your spirit. But whatever you surrender to God comes under His authority. This is why prayer is not just talking to God. It is transferring responsibility. When you pray in faith, you move concerns from your hands into His, and once God carries a matter, you do not have to keep carrying it in your mind. Some of you have been waking up already tired because your thoughts have been working overtime. But peace comes when trust becomes stronger than fear. Keep listening, because in a moment we are going to pray about how to break the habit of internal struggle and enter divine rest. You were never created to carry what only God can control. You were created to trust, obey, and rest in His faithfulness. That is where peace begins. Overthinking often disguises itself as responsibility, but in reality it can become a thief of peace. It drains spiritual strength because it keeps the mind circling around problems without entering the presence of God for solutions. The more a person rehearses fear, the weaker faith can become. This is why many people are physically present in prayer, but mentally trapped in worry. They speak words of faith, yet inside they are carrying storms of uncertainty. But peace does not come from solving every possibility in your mind. Peace comes when surrender replaces striving. Surrender is not giving up, it is giving over. It is placing your unanswered questions into the hands of a God who already sees the end from the beginning. Some of you have exhausted yourselves trying to think your way into security. But no amount of overthinking can produce the peace that trust can bring in a moment. Worry keeps asking, what if everything goes wrong? Faith answers, what if God is already working? That shift changes everything. Because what dominates your thoughts eventually shapes your spirit. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next can help break the mental cycle that has been draining your peace. Overthinking magnifies problems until they seem greater than God's promises, but surrender restores proportion. It reminds the soul that God is bigger than the burden. When you surrender, you stop carrying every possible outcome and begin resting in divine wisdom. You no longer have to force solutions through anxiety. You can move in peace while trusting God to order your steps. Many people want peace, but they still hold tightly to control. Yet peace enters where surrender begins. Let go of the need to have every answer. Release the fear of what has not happened. Lay every burden before the Lord. Keep listening, because in a moment we are going to pray over anxious thoughts, and I believe this next part can help you step into a deeper rest in God. Overthinking drains faith, but surrender renews it. And when faith rises again, peace becomes stronger than fear. What you continually meditate on will eventually shape what you expect from life. If the mind feeds constantly on fear, failure, and worst-case scenarios, the heart begins to expect defeat before the battle even begins. That is why fear is so dangerous. It is not just an emotion. It is a form of negative expectation. It persuades you to believe disaster before evidence appears. But faith works in the opposite direction. Faith meditates on promise until expectation shifts toward God's goodness. Many people are not defeated by circumstances, but by the images they keep rehearsing in their minds. They keep reliving what could go wrong, instead of envisioning what God can make right. God never intended your mind to be a warehouse for fearful thoughts. He intended it to be a place where truth governs imagination. When you meditate on His promises, you begin seeing beyond current problems. You begin expecting provision where there was lack, breakthrough where there was delay, and peace where there was pressure. This is how faith is strengthened, through what the mind chooses to dwell upon. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next can help you break agreement with fear and awaken a new expectation in prayer. Fear says, prepare for loss. Promise says, prepare for favor. Fear says, nothing will change. Promise says, God is working even now. And whichever voice you feed will influence how you walk through the day. This is why guarding your thoughts is spiritual warfare. You cannot meditate on defeat all morning and expect confidence by afternoon. You must train your soul to return to what God has spoken. Some of you need to stop revisiting old disappointments and start declaring new possibilities. Expectation matters because it creates room for faith to move. Keep listening, because in a moment we are going to pray that every fearful imagination be replaced with confidence in God's promise. Stop meditating on what could collapse and begin expecting what God can establish. Where promise fills the mind, fear begins to lose its power. Many people lose today because they are afraid of tomorrow. Their minds are constantly reaching into a future they cannot control, trying to solve outcomes that have not arrived. But the future was never meant to be carried by human anxiety. It was meant to be entrusted to divine wisdom. When you release your future to God, you are not becoming careless. You are acknowledging that the one who authored your life is more capable of directing it than your fears are. Supernatural peace begins when trust overrides the demand to know every detail ahead of time. Peace is not the absence of uncertainty. It is confidence in God in the middle of uncertainty. Some of you are troubled over decisions, family matters, finances, or doors that have not opened yet. But hear this, your future is not fragile in the hands of God. What feels uncertain to you is already known by Him. He is not improvising with your destiny, He is guiding it. And when you understand that, peace begins to settle in the soul. You stop striving to force tomorrow and start resting in the God who holds tomorrow. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next may help you release the pressure you've been carrying about your future. Many people pray for peace while secretly holding on to control. But peace does not grow where control refuses to surrender. Supernatural peace flows when you place your plans, timing, and unanswered questions before the Lord and trust His process. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is not doing more, but resting more deeply in what God has promised. Keep listening, because in a moment we are going to pray for a calm mind and confidence about what lies ahead. Relish the need to predict every outcome. Release the fear of missing your purpose. Release the pressure to make everything happen by your own strength. God is already in your tomorrow. Walk with Him today. And when trust governs your heart, supernatural peace will guard your mind in ways logic cannot explain. As this prayer comes to a close, remember this truth. Worry loses its power when trust takes its place. You do not have to carry what God has already promised to handle. Release the burdens, silence fearful thoughts, and let your heart rest in divine assurance. The same God who has protected you through yesterday is already present in your tomorrow. Walk into this day knowing your life is not governed by anxiety but by God's purpose. Let faith speak louder than overthinking. Let promise be greater than panic. And let supernatural peace rule your mind. Today, choose trust over control, surrender over striving, and peace over pressure. Declare that your future is secure in the hands of the Lord. Every burden laid before Him is under His authority. And stay with me, because in the next prayer we're going even deeper into breaking fear, unlocking peace, and activating faith for miracles ahead. Your breakthrough may begin with the next prayer.